They're back, and they're still pissed off. Welcome to A Runner Does Music, where today we're taking a look at the second album from the band Five Finger Death Punch called War is the Answer. Ooh, that is a hell of an album to review currently in the current state of the world. Hell yeah, brother. This is another album commissioned from my friend Eduardo, which, by the way, you can always check him out over at this here Twitch link, box picture thing right here, framed perfectly in my hand, probably. Go check him out. Great guy. He's giving me a shit ton of commissions. I think we're up to commission 10 by now, probably more. Definitely more. It's starting to slowly feel like a discography dive with Five Finger Death Punch though, and honestly, if people want to see that, I'm down, fuck it. This album has a decidedly sharper edge towards war, as is evident by, the album title, as well as the one's position in life at the end of it. Throughout the album, we get a lot of different looks at subjects pertaining to those grand ideas, and a very surprising piece of music overall. So, let's get into things. In terms of what to think about at first, a more vague and outstretching song comes to mind first for one to mention from the early goings of the album, that being Crossing Over. A few different perspectives are offered from an old man battered physically and mentally from days gone, as well as the widow who is ready to depart the world as their lover has. The song is simplistic in nature, touching on acceptance of death, and an oddly mature presentation on the album here, shining just a little bit brighter in comparison to the rest of the tracklist in comparison. Far From Home is another song with a tuned down approach and feeling, coming just a couple songs later and focusing on the loneliness that a musician, or really anyone, can have while traveling and being on the road. Seeing so many places and people, but still feeling largely isolated and kept apart from anything substantial or meaningful, whether in a literal or metaphorical sense. This is a personal favorite for me from the album, as it's one of the earliest examples of a song that doesn't rely on a typical Five Finger brand of fire and fury, and still manages to deliver a massive impact and punch, more so than Crossing Over, in fact. Five Finger Death Punch is a band that's obviously known for being loud, angry, and but at the same time, I feel like there's other elements to enjoy from a band like this, such as this, and this is, admittedly, when I listen to Five Finger Death Punch, or I want to every now and then, I go for the angrier songs, but to have a song that doesn't rely on just that, it's pretty good. Stepping away from the more somber notes, we hit the stronger part of the Five Finger Death Punch machine, that being songs like Bad Company, which don't venture too far into the hard rock, nearly metal flavors they divulge in, but toes the line instead. The song speaks about remaining angry and outspoken in the face of it being seen as a negative thing, something that I'm rather indifferent about subject matter-wise, but comes across as very natural from the band. The idea is doubled down on in terms of ideals and concept, with the next song, title track, War is the Answer. This song hits just as hard as the introduction pieces and focuses on a more direct attack rather than a vague one slightly seen in Bad Company. The album's entire core concept of war, as well as the overall political and social climate surrounding both it and the United States as a whole, comes together here at the end of the album in a tremendous way. I think the way the song was debuted also speaks volumes to the way the band intended this album and this song particularly to be taken. Outrageous and confrontational. The writing process for the song itself consisted of a wordless meeting between lead singer Ivan Moody and Kevin Churko, and the first listen of the completed project was done at a coffee shop in the UAE. Being sprung on an unsuspecting crowd of 25 or so, someone on location noted that he had initial feelings of resentment and general upsetness, but that the song itself awoke something primordial within him, to quote a interview, I believe. This shows that there is a definite connection being made from the band to the listener in a very palpable manner, even for somebody who's not a normal listener of the song, therefore giving the song more credence to being a genuinely unique one outside of the sort of blind anger and anger without a purpose. This is anger with a purpose that connects to any sort of individual. Maybe this is due in part to the subject matter and location itself, being close to foreign conflict for the US, but it's still worth mentioning and worth acknowledging that the song was born of bitterness, but produces a sort of positive self-induced anger, the epitome of what the band has sought to do and still seeks to do with newer albums. I've only talked about a few songs here, a quick handful, but unfortunately that's all there is really to talk about concerning the album. Five Finger Death Punch is a band that accomplishes its goal with ease, being outspoken musical art made with the intention of conjuring up some unrest in the listener, whether it be positive unrest or fuck you type of unrest. But the songs themselves don't stand out on any large amount worth noting besides singles or deeper cuts like I discussed. Basically outside of the songs I just talked about, there's nothing really of flavor or worthwhile listen outside of the first listen, and if you really like a song, obviously going back to it. Keep in mind I'm speaking in a critical manner, not like a personal enjoyment manner. If you enjoy the album, if you enjoy the music or the band, you're obviously going to listen to it time and time again, and duh, no shit. The other songs on this album, such as Burn It Down or another mid-range song like Walk Away, sound good, they're made decent, they follow the Five Finger formula, but they're just kind of okay. I made a point to talk about a lack of overall nuance or large difference in their first album, and I think this is something that prevails throughout their entire discography, including of course the second album. It's not a large detriment being only 2 releases deep into their career, but it's worth noting all the same for current quality and quality as things will go on, because I think honestly I might just say fuck it and review all their albums just because I'm doing a couple, might as well just keep her going. They know their sound, they know their audience, and they have a certain attitude and they do it well, but it doesn't stand out as utterly or critically fantastic. For those reasons, War is the Answer by 5 Finger Death Punch gets a 6.6 out of 10, and that's the review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Oh, Jesus, excuse me, below. Like I said, I actually reviewed their first album. It was The Way of the Fist, excuse me, I thought it was self-titled, but it's not. About a year ago. Go check that out if you have the time. Keep an eye out for more reviews from 5 Finger Death Punch, because like I said, after we get things caught up, after we get a little further into the Let's Catch Up 2024 idea, we might come back to it. So, hope you're having a good day, hope you're staying hydrated. I'll see you next time.